welcome guys to the Young Leading Leadership. This is going to be having Mrs. Maria Scott from USA. And she'll be speaking on when you know your true identity, you can step into your door of opportunity. So she's a life coach and she's a spiritual coach as well. So one thing about the fact that she's actually accepted my invitation is the fact that we were mistaking the time, so we didn't know how to actually go about it. And suddenly she had to cancel a lot of schedule just because she wanted to be live here, and I'm very grateful for this, very grateful. So we're gonna be having a straight up now, and okay. Okay. Okay, so okay. Sorry for the delay. Okay, so just joined. Thanks so much, man, for joining. So I'm going to her now. Welcome, mom.
And how are
Good
you today?
morning.
It's so good to see you this morning. How are you this morning?
Yes. Yeah, it's in evening. Yeah, actually.
Oh, it's evening. So hello to everyone. Hi, Ash. I see some of my people coming on. Hi, Cool Money Steve. How are you all? So good to see you. So good to see you. Really. Hi, Dia. How are you? How are you? Seems as if this is a good time for me to come on. I see a lot of my people just, my wonderful people, my wonderful supporters are always in happiness. Sophia, how are you? So good to see you. So good to see you. So really good to be here. How are you today?
Doing great, man. Thanks so much. I was thinking about it when I spoke to you about the invitation, and then you have to cancel a lot of schedule just because of it. And I was so grateful, really grateful. I'm really grateful. Thanks so much. So I wouldn't like to talk too much, but I'm going to introduce Miss Miriam Scott, and she'll be speaking on when you know your true identity, you can step into your door of opportunity. So I'm going to open the floor right now, and she'll be in charge till. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, Michael, for having me. It is really a pleasure being here. And I just want to say that this is a really wonderful opportunity for me. I like to talk a little bit about my journey, how I started before we even go in, because sometimes a lot of times you see the outside and you say, where did this start? Where did this come from? So my name is Marcia Scott, and I am from a very small fishing village in Jamaica. Very small village. Very small. I mean, in terms, when you look on what small is, because Africa is vast, If you want to see land, I always say, if you go to Asia, you see people. There's always people. If you go to Africa, you see land. You see the vastness, just the vastness of land. So you just keep looking and looking and looking, and it gets bigger and bigger. So my little village is so small. It's like a pinhead, really. It's so small when you compare. But as I grew up, they were always fishermen and fishing women there. And my parents, they didn't want me to go and, go by the fishing men and fishing women. They wouldn't do that. But, I had a nanny who was very cooperative to me as a child. She let me do a lot of the things that I like to do. So she would take me to the sea. We call it to the sea every morning. And we'd go very early when the fishing women are there and the fishermen are just coming in, because they go out at nights. And when they go out at nights, they come in the mornings. And I would stay out there. And I always sat there and I marveled. I was a little kid, a very small kid, but I marveled. I just marveled at everything that was going on around me, because I wasn't just, I guess for the adults, they were hearing fishing women talking. And for the adults, they were seeing fishermen, these rugged fishermen coming in. But as a child, I was seeing these majestic people just coming in from the ocean. And I'd look out on the ocean and the vastness of the ocean, and they'll just rise up from nowhere. And then the fishing women would just come in from nowhere. It's silent on the beach when you go that time of the morning, very silently. And then all of a sudden, everybody is there. You hear the chatter, you hear the men coming in, you hear them going back and forth, and they're bartering, and the language. This is why I guess my mom didn't want me to go. The language wasn't necessarily the best in terms of, I'm trying to get my internet on here. The language wasn't necessarily the best in terms of, what they would be saying around a child, but I wanted to hear. I wasn't hearing what they were saying because of the foul language that they were using. No, I was hearing the joy. I was hearing the commerce. I was hearing the laughter. I was hearing the oneness of being here. That's what I was hearing. And then when I looked out on the ocean, and I don't know if you've never been in a fishing in a village that is close to the ocean, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But there is something to be said about the smell of the ocean. The smell of the ocean, and it smells differently at different times of the year. But the smell of the ocean represented for me then, and for me now, the all-sufficiency of God. I would bask in the ocean breeze. I would bask in the smell of the ocean. I would sit and listen to the chatter of the women and the men as they talk back. I would just wonder, just look on the marvel. Just the marvel of commerce, not in a sophisticated way, but in a very simple way that provided subsistency for people and for them to know that they are worth being here. So my values came from fishing. My values came from the sea. My values came from knowing that there is something bigger than me. But this thing that is bigger than me is also my all-sufficiency. It's that thing that takes me from one level to another. That's what it is. So that's what I wanted to introduce. A lot of times I come on and people say, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell me about all your accolades. But the accolades isn't important. It's the substance that's important. I have degrees. I do have degrees. I've been to college. I went to college. I have awards. I have lots of the awards. I have all of those things. I have a lot of material things too. I have that. But that's nothing in comparison to me remembering as a child the experience of the all-sufficiency of the divine that was going to transport me from a fishing village into places that I never expected, into boardrooms that was not prepared for me, into bank offices that were not ready for me to show up. That was going to export me from a small fishing village into a vast world so that I could accomplish and I could do the things I needed to do to make this purpose that is placed in me, this dream that is within me, come alive. So I am here today to talk to you all about your identity. Because identity is something that we wear, and we wear it like clothing. We wear it like an armor. And you know, so your identity is what we walk around with. And a lot of people, they revel in their identity. So I am here to talk about your true identity, not the false identity. And I ask you one question when we talk about identity. Is identity created, or is identity something you came with? I want you to really think about that. Is identity something that is created? And if it is created, how is identity created? Is it created by the environment that you're in? Is it created by the world that you find yourself in? Is it created by what you think of yourself? How is your identity created? And if your identity is something that is created, who is doing the creation? Who is putting together this identity that you call you? Who is saying you are who you are? You know, stories told of a young man that lost his identity, so to speak, because he had amnesia. So he was in a little alley, and they found him. And when they found him, this poor young man could not for the life of him know who he was. So did he lose his identity? Was he not who he is because he does not remember the experiences of his life? Because he does not remember which school he went to? Who is his mom? Who is his family? What was he doing? Did he lose his identity? And that's the question I want you to ponder today. Because a lot of us, we have identity, and we create this identity that someone has given to us, or that we have put together. It's like they have given us some of it, and then we take some for ourselves and we melt it together and we say, that's who I am. So I come here this morning and I try to tell you who I am. That's not who I am. That's not who I am. Where I've been is not who I am. Where I'm going is not who I am. What I'm doing is not who I am. I am something greater than that, and you are too. So I am inviting you this morning to move away from the creation of an identity. Because the creation of an identity, what it does to you, it really just puts you in a box. And I'm going to open up now, because I have a little presentation here. I'm going to open up now this presentation that I have this morning, and then we're going to look on it. It says, when you know your true identity, you can step into your door of opportunity. If I don't know who I am, I won't know which doors to open and to go into. I don't know which doors I must pass, because there are some doors you're not meant to go into, Miss Coconut Cookie. There are some doors you are not meant to go into. Listen to what I'm saying. But when I know who I am and not who you have told me that I am, and I have used this as my identity, then I will know which door to walk into. I will know which opportunity to take, and I will know when to go. That's some key stuff right there. That's what I teach. I teach you about your identity. I teach you about your opportunity, not my opportunity, but your opportunity. And I let the identity, your true identity, evolve. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Because identity, let's look on it now. Let's look on the external identity that is created for us. But the identity that I'm talking about is beyond that. Because there's also an internal identity too, you know. Yes. Because if I ask you who you say you are, you're going to give me an internal identity. I coach with a lot of very affluent people, and I'm talking about very successful people. And when they're very vulnerable with me and you hear them, you say, oh my gosh, you know, they just break down and they don't think they're as good as they are. And everybody thinks they're great, but they don't think they're good as they are. They don't, you know, they're working on some things. They're working on some things. They're always working on some things. That's why Michael Jordan never stopped practicing, because he was always working on himself. He was always working on his skills. So they're working on themselves. So their identity, they have an internal identity too. You understand? So this external identity and this internal identity comes together to form what we call ourselves. But that's not who you are. Because if that was who you are, the poor young man that lost his identity thought that he lost his identity. He would be no more, but he's still here. He's still here. And I am here to tell you that because you're still here, you are precious. I am here to say to you that because you're still here, you are on purpose. And because you're still here, you're a miracle. You're not here by chance. Do you know, scientifically speaking, that every single one of us that is here, every one of us that is here, it was not by chance, because for us to be conceived, that spermatozoa that reached that egg had to beat out 250 million spermatozoas to get there. So I am born a winner. You are born a winner. But what we have done, we have taken the external identity, the internal identity. We have created something that is less than a winner. And so what do we start doing? We start to struggle. We start to think we cannot make it. We start to think that if we are to do that, we need this and that and that and this and that. I am not saying you don't need skills. That's not what I'm saying. I am not saying you don't need to be skillful. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying to you that you have a purpose that is within you. That is your true identity. That is your naked identity. And I want to dig a little deeper this morning and talk about, this afternoon, and talk about some of the pillars of identity. The first pillar of identity is the pillar of value. Value. Who do you say you are and what is your value? Last night I was saying in my live that Moses, the great Moses, the deliverer Moses, came to Pharaoh and he was afraid. And he should be afraid. Remember now, it's the same Pharaoh that said to him, you leave the palace now. If you remember the story, you leave the palace. And he went to God and he said, oh my God, this great duty, this great job that you have given me, I cannot. How am I going to lead the children of Israel that were here for 400 years in slavery? How can you give me such a job and taking away everything from me? You stripped me of this. You sent me to be a shepherd boy. How can I do this? I am afraid. God looked at him and God said, Moses, what do you have in your hand? That's the identity. Let's look on the identity now. And let's look on the value. The value. He said, I have a staff. And what did that staff represent? It's represented his value. It represented that he's a shepherd, so he has a shepherd staff. So you're just a shepherd. That's his value. Oh, so he's now measuring his value on the matrix of man. So being a shepherd boy means he's nothing. Being a shepherd boy means he's not the Pharaoh. Being a shepherd boy means he cannot do it. The next thing is that it talked about his income, because a lot of us think that our value is based on our network, but your network is not what your value is based on. What your value is based on is on your self-worth. I talk about a lot about self-care. And people think that when I say self-care, it means to go get a massage and get their hair done and lay in the bed and sleep. And that's a part of it. But the bigger part of it is that inner work that you need to do, that inner self-care that you need to do to remind yourself of your true identity, your true value, and to understand that if the divine says you are to be a shepherd boy, he moves you from the position for you to understand that the position is not what's going to take you there. A lot of us, when we are thriving to move up, we think if we don't get that position, that title and that position. And when I think about title and position, you know who I think about? Margaret Thatcher, the great prime minister woman of in the UK. And I remember I watched a documentary just before she died, and she was nothing. She couldn't call anybody because her influence was gone, because her title and her position was gone. I am talking about the identity that when you walk into a room as a shepherd boy, when you walk into a room as a shepherd boy, they stand up for you. They know who you are. You don't need a title for this. You need self-worth, not net worth for this. This is what you need. And I move on. So here, the first one is your value. Understand your true value. So when he said, what do you have in your hand? Then God looked on him and said, throw it down. You have to strip yourself of this identity, this value, this false value that you have put on yourself. You have to strip yourself on it so that it can be worthy once more. And how does it become worthy once more? When the divine gives it back to you and magnifies it back to you and say, now it's a rod. Now go through my work. You see what I'm talking about? That's a mind shift. We need a mind shift in order to be successful. We need a mind shift in order to step into our greatness. So yes, you young men, you're there and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to start my business and I'm going to work and I'm going to hustle. I am not saying you must not do that. I'm not even saying you mustn't go to the school. I'm not saying you mustn't get the degrees. But I am saying that you need to move away from this illusion of this identity that you have created and externally has been created for you. So like I said, the second pillar, the first pillar is your value. Know your value. Not the value that was given to you, not the value that is determined by any, but know your value. The second one is to know your worth. If you were given the task to do, you are supposed to do it. I don't care if you think you're a shepherd boy. If you are given your dream to do, if you are given your vision to open your store, then go open your store. Go open the store. But I opened the store, Miss Scott, and it failed. Who said it failed? What did you learn from it? What is it taking you to? Where are you stepping to? Because the business did not do well. How you thought it should, you thought it failed. What did you learn so you can go to the next step? Which other door are you going to be opening right now? Do you see what I'm saying to you? So keep your mind where it should be. And don't go be walking into doors where you don't belong either, because you want that title. That's not even your vision. You just want that title because you think the title is what you're going to be identifying yourself with. Move away from that. The third pillar is belief. Believe who I say I am. I am Moses, not Prince. I am Moses, not shepherd boy. I am Moses, the deliverer of the children of Israel, and that's going to take them out of Egypt. I am Moses. That's who you need to know you are. You're not the identity of man. You're not the identity that you created within you. Who are you? I am a miracle. Who are you? You are a miracle. You are here with a vision. Know who you are. Because that's one of the fundamental pillars. Because when you know your true value, you know your true worth, and you know who you are, then guess what? The last pillar is coming, baby. It's power. It's power. Because now you are the powerhouse. Now you are the powerful. Now you are able to show the power that you are. So yes, yes. When you look on these pillars, they're very important, very, very important, because you need to remember who and what you are. You know, I was I remember when I was thinking about, and this is where I'm going to close today, you know, after I talk about who we are, but you know, I was thinking about, and I spoke about it last night a little bit, but I, and not much, but I'm going to talk about it when we talk about who am I, the pillar of who am I. I remember myself, I had a business, and it was a retail business that I had. And I hope you're not hearing all that noise. They're doing some work outside. And this retail business that I had, I remember I was there in the retail business, and there was this, I got all of the workers together, and we were having this meeting. And when we were having this meeting, I said, something is wrong. What is wrong here, guys? I like to listen to people that work with me. I don't look on them as working for me. They work with me. This is a corporation. I lead by cooperating. I don't lead by competing. I lead by cooperating. If you look on some of the most successful systems on this planet is by cooperation. You look on a forest. Go look on a forest. The forest has been there before you came, and it will be there long after you're gone, because they are in cooperation. Everything about that forest is in cooperation. It may look like chaos to you, but it's in cooperation. If you take your garden and you plant a little thing here and a little thing here, and your garden looks nice and beautiful and very manicured, when you're gone, the garden is gone. If you have a bad day or a bad year, the garden is gone, because that's not the right cooperation. You don't know the mixture of things that needs to be there for that garden to thrive. But the forest, you leave it alone and it's chaos. So I'm going back to the story. So here I am with the workers, and I said to them, what's wrong? And this worker, all this worker did was to just mop the floors. He was the mopper of the floors. And he said, let me tell you what's wrong. And everybody looked at him, because he don't normally talk, and everybody and say, it's because we listen to everybody that comes in here. When one customer comes and says we should do this, we change. And another customer comes in and says we should do this, we change. And another customer comes in and says we should do this, we change. And we were changing and changing, and guess what? We were not staying in our lane. When you know who you are, you stay in your lane. I don't try to do what you do, and you don't need to try to do what I am doing. I'm not an artist. I go to Ash when I need artwork done. You see what I'm saying? I'm not a writer. I'm not an editor. I go to Claire and Sarah when I need my editing done. I'm not a marketing person. I go to my marketing crew when I need that done. Do you see what I'm saying to you? But because I know who I am, because I know who I am not threatened that they do what they do well. You see what I'm saying to you? So this is what is important. So I listened. And when he said that, I said, wow. And we started now to have a laser vision and to zero in, and the business started growing. Because now we weren't doing everything that every customer wants us to do. We were only doing a certain thing and staying in our lane. When you know who you are, you stay in your lane. You're not running back and forth from lane to lane. So let me review this once more with you, because I want to leave you with this today. I really want you to get it. So when I said, when you look on your worth, remember that you're chosen. You are chosen. You are chosen. You didn't go and look to be chosen, so you're where you should be. Don't go where you're not wanted. You are chosen. So when you know that you are chosen, Moses was chosen. I don't care if he was a shepherd boy. I don't care if he was a prince. I don't care what title he had. He is chosen. You are chosen. Remember that. Okay? The next thing I want you to remember on your pillar is and when you know that you're chosen, you know your worth. For your value, I want you to remember that it's not about paper money. It's not about scholarships. It's not about any of this. Your value is on the fact that you're here. Are you here? Are you here, White Sarah? You are here. You beat out 250 million other spermatozoas. You are here. And you are not accidental. Your parents might think you're accidental because they are accidental parents, but you are not an accident. So you are here. So your value is that you are here. That's the first thing you need to remember. Once you show up, you're here. The next thing you need to remember, your worth. You're chosen. You are chosen. Never, ever, ever forget that one fact, that you're chosen. And the next one is know who you are so you know your position. So you stay in your lane. So you stand for what your business is supposed to do. So you go after your vision. Your vision. Let me tell you something now. You see what you're starting here? And first of all, I want to commend you for what you're doing with other young people. You see what you're starting here? It's a stepping stone of something much greater. But if you start holding on to it like Moses held on to his staff, it will never get there. Not because you're not chosen, not because you're not valued, but because you don't know who you are. And because you don't know who you are, you cannot surrender. And when you surrender, you stay in your lane. And last but not least, let's look on the fourth pillar now. Let's look on the fourth pillar now. Last but not least, we are going to be looking on the pillar of power. And this is where I talk about Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, everybody knows Mother Teresa. Don't you know her? Everybody knows her. And do you know why we all know Mother Teresa? Because she's power. Because she first of all knew her value. She knew her worth. She knew who she was, and she knows what she believes in who she was. So her power came out. She didn't have to be the Pope. Did she have to be the Pope? No. You will not remember. I don't even remember which Pope was serving at the time when Mother Teresa was. I don't even remember. Sometimes you have to remind me of which Pope there is right now. But I do remember Mother Teresa. If you're Muslim, you know Mother Teresa. If you're Christian, you know Mother Teresa. If you're Hindu, you know Mother Teresa. If you're Buddhist, you know Mother Teresa. Because we no longer look on Mother Teresa as Catholic or even Christian. We look on Mother Teresa as Mother Teresa. Your power shines when you are practicing your true identity.
Wow.
Your power comes alive when you're practicing who your true identity is about. And your true identity is like the naked truth. The naked truth doesn't need any clothing. The naked truth doesn't need any armor. The naked truth doesn't need any degree. The naked truth doesn't need any of that. Your identity is like the naked truth. This is who I am. This is who I am when I was 3 and 4 and 5 years old on a fishing village in a small country, looking on my teachers who were fishermen and fishing women and a vast ocean. This is who I am. This is who I am. And I have much more to do and greater places to go. But I'm not taking me there. It is this true identity. It is this thing that I know that I am that's going to take me there. And like Mother Teresa, I will stay in my lane. Like Mother Teresa, I'm going to know my worth. Like Mother Teresa, I'm not going to know my value. And popes will come looking for me. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me today? There is someone here today that is starting a business, that is seeing their vision, that wants to go to the next level. And they are maybe in college, maybe with a certain businessman, maybe in a company, and somebody is putting you down and telling you to create an identity that is not you. I say to you today, put your staff down. Put it down. Put it down and let the divine pick it up and give it back to you. Because when the divine gives you back your identity, you have to step into greatness. And Pharaoh could see from thence on that this is Moses. This is Moses. And he's here to take the children of Israel out of Egypt. Are you ready for your vision? Are you ready for your purpose? And the only way you know that you are ready is when you have your value, your worth, your belief, and your power. And to be able to have that, you need to be able to deliver this identity that you have created and take up your true identity of who you already are and experience the experiences of life. And when you experience the experiences of life, you don't hold on to the experiences because that's not you. Moses experienced the experience of being a shepherd boy, but that's not Moses. He experienced living in a palace, but that's not him either. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Because he is born as the deliverer of the people, of the children of Israel, moving from bondage to freedom. Are you ready to move from your bondage mindset into your freedom life set? And if you are ready, it means you're ready to give up this false identity that externally and internally you have created that has nothing to do with you and nothing to do with your vision, nothing to do with your purpose. You're greater than that. You're bigger than that. You're mightier than that. And you are here on purpose. You are no accident. And when you know who you are, you will step into the right doors. You will know which door to step into. Because like Moses, you will always dial in. You will always dial in to get the confirmation, not from me, not from the person who is putting you down in the office or in the business, who is telling you to do so and so and so, when you know the only reason why they're telling you to do that is because they don't want you to succeed. I'm talking to somebody today. They're not giving you the tips because they are afraid of your power and your strength. They are going to exile you like Pharaoh did, not knowing that was what was meant to be will be, and it's gonna be through you. So get out of the way. Get out of your own way. Get out of your own way and lose that false identity that you carry with you. Move it away and move into your power. Move into your power. But the only way you can move into your power is if it's like Mother Teresa. You just humbly release it. That's all she did. She was just being Mother Teresa. From the day she was born until the day she made her transition, she was just being Mother Teresa. I'm just being Marcia Scott. That's all I'm doing. You don't have to give me any accolades. You don't have to give me any awards. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to say good or bad about me. I don't really care because I have learned my true identity. I have been given my true identity. I have surrendered the identity that I created of myself. I have surrendered this false identity and I've taken up my true identity and I live by it daily. And it moves me, it guides me, it teaches me, it takes me to places where I'm afraid. Thank you all for having me today. I know we paused there for a little while, but thank you all for having me today. And I hope I have planted a new seed of identity within you. And I hope you're able to now take your identity and walk into your you are who you are because the divine says so. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
So much, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so thank you so much, man. Thanks so much. We're very grateful. Really, really grateful. So before you go, before every speaker, we allow them to give you few words. So one actually asks, you've had experience, you've coached a lot of the people, you've had such different great people. What advice would you give to young people of this generation and in this generation? Last words.
My main advice that I give to young people in this generation is to work on your self-worth. Your self-worth does not come from social media. Because in social media, they said there is about 13.5 billion pieces of information that you get on this social media every single minute. That's not where it comes from. You need to work on your own self-worth. Because when you know who you are, when you know your identity, you're going places, baby. You're going places. The next thing that I want to say to you is that once you know your self-worth, work on your skills. Because you know what you're wired to do. You know what you're wired to do. Work on your skills. So if you're wired to be an artist, work on your skills as being an artist. If you're wired to be a businessman, go learn all you need to learn because that's what you need to do. And stop judging yourself by the perception of your eyes or others. Stop. Just stop judging yourself. That's too much pressure. Just stop judging yourself.
Wow,
Anything?
thanks so much, man. Thanks so much. So before we go, please, can we just say thank you because of she's really taking.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much for having me. All righty
Same
then.
guy.
And you have
Thanks
a
so much.
good one now. Thank you and be
Thank
blessed.
you.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining. I want to say thank you to everyone who's joined here. I want to say thank you to everyone. And next session is by 6 p.m. Nigeria time, WAT. I will be speaking on what is love in a dating relation for singles and for those who are about to get married and those who are married. So thanks for joining. I want to say thank you to Mrs. Marcia Scott for having this section with you. And please, if you're just joining, I would advise you go watch the video all over again. It's very powerful. And I wrote about 4 pages. Thanks so much. Bye.